Today we're going to look at one of those Microsoft specials, namely the OLDNAMES.lib. The OLDNAMES.lib is a .lib file that comes with a Microsoft compiler, and essentially what it allows you to do is use like unlink instead of _unlink. Because apparently sometime in the 1980s, before C had been standardized, Microsoft implemented a bunch of these like Unix-like functions like unlink and stat and so on. But then when C got standardized, they decided to keep these around, but use an underscore for all of these. And then to access these non-underscore functions, they introduced a library called OLDNAMES.lib. So the problem for me is that this library comes with a Microsoft compiler. And my compiler is supposed to work even when the Microsoft compiler is not installed on the system, and hence I have to somehow provide the same functionality. Currently what I do is I define these functions, well, 3 of them, not all of them, and just return the original value with the underscore version. But I also have to undef them because there could be a global define. And so this is not that great. I would like to get rid of the indirection, and I want to get rid of this hack. So that is the goal for today. And to get rid of this hack, I want to use or implement the alternate name linker switch. Here's another blog post by everyone's favorite Microsoft employee, Raymond Chen. And he talks about this linker switch alternate name, and this is effectively a command line switch version of the OLDNAMES.lib library. So this seems good. This is what I want to implement. And namely, when you say /alternate name XY, then it tells the linker that if you're looking for a symbol named X and can't find it, it redirects to symbol Y. But we can also use this in source code. Namely, we can use pragma, comment, linker, alternative name. The alternative name equals the name we have defined in the function. So essentially what I want to do is put a bunch of pragmas with like unlink is unlink and so on into this file right here. So let's first off do that. Okay, so far so good, and now let's use these. I don't know what I have to include. String.h. Okay, and here we have the problems. Currently, now I say stirdoop function is not contained in any of the imported DLLs. So it's declared in string.h, but then it's not contained in any library because it's contained in old libs. So in theory, these pragmas should be pulled in, but I don't think it complains about them because I just ignore unsupported pragmas. So now let's try to implement this pragma. And here I already have a pragma comment. In this case, we don't do pragma comment lib, which I also implemented in a video, but this time we do pragma comment linker. Okay, I'm gonna check here if actually all of the pragma comment stuff works the same, so it's always an identifier and then a string literal, because then I can just steal all of this parsing code and put it one layer up. Yes, it says pragma comment type, and then maybe a comma separated list of these comment strings. I don't do the comma separation right now, but that's fine. Like all of these work the same. Wait, there's a pragma comment compiler? What does that even mean? So it may not be necessary to have the comma and then the comment string. I see. This is what this means. But okay, for now I can just say, sure, if there's a comment, comma, then there's afterwards a string. Okay, now for the linker part. The parsing is obviously the same, and usually what's supposed to happen is that these directives that go in here are supposed to then pass just verbatim to the linker as arguments, like command line arguments. The thing about that is my compiler doesn't use a linker per default. It does the linking itself. And so I think I have to pass this string. And for now, I'm just going to allow specifying one thing, and that one thing is an alternative name, which is not included here. But I think he said that it's undocumented. Here I would sort of like to use some general command line parsing thing, I guess. Maybe I should have like a second CLI file and generate one for this. That would be neat. But okay, let's not get bogged down by that and instead just do the manual thing, and it's gonna be a little bit annoying. Okay, so far so good. So this is a hacky if branch chain, but we're getting the link line that is passed to us in a string literal. We are eating until the colon. If it's alternative name, which is the only one that we currently handle. So if it's not that, we won. Otherwise, we eat white spaces, we get the identifier, we try to find an equal sign and then another identifier. Okay, and so for now, I want to see that this is actually working by just printing something here. And so we have this test file test.c. So lgsc test.c. And it prints alternate name, stirdoop, get cwd, rmd, rmd. So that works beautifully. Now we have to sort of add these somehow. And I think I did this up here already once for a similar thing, namely these library files. And I'm just going to do something stupid again. So this takes the freaking spin lock and then does something and then unlocks the spin lock. I am going to do the same thing. And now that we are in here, I think I can like uniquely add the thing to some table that we are going to put into the global state. Okay, so far so good. Now we should be passing these and putting them into a table. Now the next step is actually to use them. And the easy thing here is to handle it correctly in the object file. So let's do that first. Namely, we just have to look in here somewhere where we fill out these directives. Here we're adding exports, here. This kind of stuff, where we are doing default, lib, whatever. And here we're just going to reconstruct essentially what was passed in. So prefixing or postfixing, then the string list that I'm building up here. Directives is a string list, so just a bunch of string nodes that in the end get concatenated. I think in theory these could all be no copy. So let's do that. Okay, but we want alternate name without the underscore. And then we want a identifier, which comes from the alternate name. And I don't need this. Right. Beautiful. And so in theory this should work. So let's make a little test for that. Sure. Whatever this is can go. beautiful file. So we just alias this alias to underscore alias. And hope that that works. And we are using, yeah, pragma comment linker alternate name alias to alias underscore alias. And let's first off see that that works with the Microsoft compiler. And it does. So now, in theory, it should not work with my compiler just yet. Right? External function was declared and never referenced. But it should, in theory, work with an object file. So if I do obj, then link obj asked obj, you can see that that links just fine. So that's good. So we've supported it in one case. Now here comes the slightly harder case where we actually have to do the linking ourselves. So in main, the first thing I want to do is, if we have declarations for both of these, so both for source and for dest, then I want to make sure the types match. So all of these different pragma comment lib directives should be passed during preprocessing, so I can check that all of these are correct after the preprocessing stage. But I do need to know the declaration type, so I have to wait till after passing. The way all of these stages work in my compiler is, well, I first set up some stage, all of the compilation units, and then it's just appending some work to a work queue, waiting for all of the threads to do the work, doing whatever post-processing needs to be done. And then what's the next stage? Pass all the global scope entries, and passing them all in the work queue, and then doing all of the post-processing that is needed. So here we are done with passing all of the global scope entries. Okay, I should probably, in fact, make these things in the alternate name atoms instead of strings. Atoms are just strings, but they also store a hash. So I usually can compare things rather quickly by comparing the hashes first. So let's fix up all of the compile errors from that. Now where was I? Here. Here I can look up the declaration more easily. So. The root scope. So we assume these are at global scope. So no root scope. Actually, I just want to look it up in the AS table. Do I want an error here, or do I just want to print a warning? It seems kind of weird if someone uses an alternate name thing and doesn't define the variable in question, like anywhere, but probably Microsoft wouldn't complain. Let's report an error for now, and if it gets annoying in some cases, then I'll deal with it then. Actually, you know what? Don't have a token. I guess I could put a token in the alternate name. So the token gets passed here to let the user know where the error was, mostly. So it has line, column, and file information. This never happens. Who cares? Okay. Report error. This could not find source. So the destination I probably have to be okay with not being declared, I feel, but the source should be declared. Right? Like if you say stirdup underscore stirdup, that means that you want to use stirdup as underscore stirdup. You don't necessarily have to know what underscore stirdup is, maybe. You don't have to necessarily have it declared. I want this one. Almost took the source here, which would have caused a null pointer dereference. Anyway, in that case, we continue. Otherwise, if we have a destination, let's do it like this. And then we will check the types. Should I warn here or error? Kinda don't want to introduce warnings, so let's just freaking error. Alternate name source. Feel like I'm putting way too much effort into these error messages, but maybe they'll help at some point someone. Also, if you can think of something better than source and destination, please tell me, because it does kind of suck, but I don't know. Okay, so far so good. So we have checked these, and I think I'm gonna stash the source and destination also in the alternate name. Okay, that should not have changed anything for making anything work, but source type identifier undeclared. Because I can't spell. Now I've deleted half the file. Did I also misspell this? Oh, it's type. Let's see that we're still where we were before. Yes. And if I go into here and I misspell something, could not find source, symbol alias. Okay. So far so good. Let's make this by void, and it should also complain. Yeah. So all of this was working beautifully. Now, I want to find out where it fails. And at the point where it fails, I should probably then try to like do another lookup or something. And so if I just do hlc ask.c, it says external function was declared in reference but never defined. So let's try to find that. So this is in here. Lookup declaration in libraries. So we've encountered a declaration that was used but not defined. So I think there are two parts here. So first of all, I just look up declaration in libraries. No, first of all, it would try to resolve the identifier with its usual name. And if that doesn't work, then it would try the alternate name. Okay, let's deal with this case first and maybe only deal with this case where we have a library. Because in this case, I think it's maybe fine. The problem is what I'm trying to do in AST right now, that these are both defined, that one of them is defined in source code, which maybe I just won't support. But I might only support like if this second symbol is not defined. Okay, lookup declaration in libraries. Here we start, we get the identifier out, we try to look it up, and then in the end here, we have not found it in an import header and have not found it in a library file. Then if it's a DLL import, we print that we haven't found the thing in any imported DLLs. And if it's not a DLL import, which it isn't in this case, then we print was declared in reference but never defined. And so I think all that this is going to take is something like this. So we iterate over all of the alternate names, and if the first one matches, sure, let's do a string match, even though this could really easily be atom match. Atoms match of the alternate name source, and then the identifier okay, there's a problem with cycles here, but I'm going to ignore it. Then the identifier is now the alternate name destination. And we can break. And then here, if we have not found it, which means alternate name is 0, and we can break. Meaning we break out of this while true. And then I'm also going to put a cleanup here. In the below also report on alternate names being used. So far so good. Now I think what I wanted to make work actually works now, hopefully, fingers crossed. But AST is not going to work. So if I do this, it's going to spin forever apparently, so that's not good. Port error. Okay, I think the errors are probably fine. Why is it spinning forever? Oh, because... Right. This is only in the case, yeah. Factoring is kind of weird. Maybe there's a better way. Instead of having like this while true thing. Anyway. If we found the thing, we can obviously break as well. Okay. And then, okay, it still complains about the same thing in this case, but that might be fine. What I want to try is to do an alternate name to printf, maybe. That should work, right? Does that work with CL? Does that work with HLC/C? Okay, so why doesn't it work? External function was declared in the reference but never defined. Something about the loop doesn't work. Jesse us.c, and we want to run this in remedy.bg. Alias. Seems correct. We can't find alias. I agree with that. So now we get the first one. Do we have an alternate name? We do. What is it? Something. Do the atoms match of the source and the identifier? They do. So we now have a new identifier. Should be printf. Oh, printf is a really bad example. I now realize. The problem with printf is that it's actually like an inline function inside of the header. So that it's just a bad example. What's anything, any function that we could use? Come on, brain, produce me something. Get standard handle. I don't know why I can't always come back to this one, but I do. Void star, and it takes in an int. So we are actually testing that we do not need to know what this is. So that's also interesting. That is our breakpoint. Didn't I remove the breakpoint? What I did? Maybe I didn't recompile. Okay, alias is treated as DLL import, even though it was not declared DLL import. That's good. And it runs. And let's see with dump in what it says. I want the imports. But we can see it now imports get standard handle. And actually we can debug it, right? See that it works fine. So here, but I have disassembly here apparently. Can I like see that? This calls into rip something. Oh, no, we cannot see it. Unfortunate. But okay, I'm just going to believe myself that that is get standard handle. With that, I think this works fine now. And I can track in removing the hack in runtime.c, which I'm very happy about. I'm more happy with this than the other guy. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed it.